Giving credit to the savior, so you know I'm approved. Whole team Olympiads, cause I run with the best. Send the shots, not a problem that I need to address. If the message leave them blue, then they left it on red. I love God and rappers, most of y'all just here for the bread.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Grounded Podcast. I'm Michelle.
And I'm Marissa. And today we're going to be talking about control, right?
Yes.
Yeah, control is a big one. I know I always say that they're big ones, but they are.
No, okay, yeah. But this one is, because I know how it plays in my life, because I'm like sort of kind of like a control freak. Let's just call it how it is. Time. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me just call it how it is. Other people have told me. I took forever to admit it to myself, but we're gonna go with it.
The first step is accepted. So,
step one.
As long as you're no longer in denial. But yeah, it really is, and it also plays a big part in my life. I'm not a control freak, but like, I used to feel this way, but like if I didn't have control, I used to have control or feel like I had control of everything, and then
you felt like you had control of everything. Okay, so
I think
like in my control, it's like I need to have control of everything around.
The reason I said that I felt like I had control is because I know now with my relationship with God that I'm not really in control of stuff.
No, absolutely.
So that's what I was saying. Like when I like how you said like I needed to have control. Yeah, I needed to have control, but I didn't really have it for real. So it didn't really make a difference.
And I was trying to see if like our control is the same kind of problem.
It is, but I feel like we respond differently to it.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's interesting because as you know, you've shared that you God brought you to a place where you didn't have control. Same for me. I'm not going to say that's what made me turn to God, but that's when I was kind of like, okay, I'll pray. Like, okay, I'll talk, because it was like, God brought me to a place where I didn't have control of what was going on in my life. And the thing is that, He's revealed to me that he's going to use that place where I felt like I didn't have control as testimony later on. And like, he'll turn it around and it'll be like, oh, okay. But for instance, you remember like, I was like the friend, like if you had you gonna call, I have a problem, Marissa gonna figure it out. Mm-hmm. Like I'm gonna call. So it wasn't like I had control of people's lives, but I could be like, okay, if you do this, this is gonna happen. You take this route, you do this, you could do this. Like I could have 5 different options and 5 different results and whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I was always helping everybody else, but I wasn't taking care of me.
Well, you were definitely carrying the burden
of a lot of people. Like some people would just call me we wouldn't have a conversation. I'm Marissa, how are you? Nothing. And so because of that, as you know now, like I used to struggle with depression and anxiety, but what I didn't know is I had high functioning depression and anxiety for like maybe 18 years at this point. And I'm 29. So for 18, like, cause I had been taking people's things on since like kindergarten. I remember being in kindergarten and my mom being like, you can't take this on. And I'm stressing cause my friend, I don't know, got something going on at home and I feel like I need to fix it. But God had to bring me to a place of where I felt like I had no control. Because if you remember in the part of my life when I really started like diving deep into God and praying, was when the depression and anxiety was to a point where I couldn't, like high functioning depression, I wasn't high functioning anymore. I wasn't really functioning. It got too heavy for me. I couldn't really pour into people anymore. Like I would try to help you, but it was taking more of a toll on me. Right. And then there was a few other things in my life where I was like, okay, these things might be going haywire, but these things are solid. And then God was like, oh, nope. Now those things we're going to remove, or we're going to not remove, but kind of like shake them up a little bit, And so it was kind of like all of my outlets were shaky.
Right.
So all I could do was be like, okay, God, I need you to do it, because I can't do it. So he had to bring me to that point, which is interesting now, but Yeah.
No, it's crazy because I remember when I was in therapy, the main thing that I wanted to talk to my therapist about, I was telling, like, you know, I have an issue when I can't control what's going on around me. Like, I instantly get anxiety and I feel the pressure of being overwhelmed in a situation. And he was just like, well, what do you do when that happens? And I'm like, well, when I'm in the car and I'm not the one driving and someone else is driving me, and I like can see an accident about to happen, like right before, you know, like it plays in slow motion right before me, like I grab the arm grab thing, or the one that's on top, and I'm like squeezing tight, because I'm like, that's my only way of feeling like I'm in some kind of control with the, because it's pressure. When you apply pressure, it makes you feel
it's kind of like taking you're kind of distracting yourself.
Yeah, in a sense. So, and he was just like, well, you got to find a way to let that go. And I was just thinking, as you were saying that, I'm like, really the best way to let that go is when you surrender.
Yeah, because back then, I don't think we were really letting it go. Like, we were just taking it and kind of like pushing it, like, no, I'm fine.
Yeah, I definitely think that I would push things to the back of my mind and just let it harbor there, and slowly over time, like the thought of it would go away, or, you know, it went away, but it never truly went away, because when something triggered that memory, it came back. So no, when you truly surrender to God and you surrender your, you know, bad thoughts or bad feelings or any kind of anxiety, overwhelmness, or depression, like you were saying that you're feeling, when you truly give that to God, that's when you truly experience his peace. And it doesn't come back. There aren't any triggers that bring it back, because you've surrendered it, and he's when you truly healed and you've given it to God, then it's gone.
I remember when I was maybe a month or so ago, I was ministering to one of my friends, or, you know, we were just having a conversation, but I was ministering to her, and I said, if you feel like things are out of control, good. If you feel like you're out of control, good. Because you know, when you feel like you're out of control, you're literally, your hands are up. That's a position you need to be in. Because when you feel like you're not in control, you can't do anything else but let it go. And then that provides a space for God to move in it. Because a lot of times we'll say, like, okay, God, I let it go, or I give it to you, but we still holding on to it. You know what I'm saying?
I heard somewhere, you need to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
When it comes to, you know, your ministry and being with God, because the moment that you're comfortable,
I start getting lazy.
Exactly. You know, you start to lay back and you're not productive anymore. So I just think about that all the time, because I'm like,
or maybe not uncomfortable, but you need to feel some kind of like push,
a reason to like keep working, keep going,
not being complacent,
exactly, or content. There you go. Not being content to
I think content's wrong. It's probably complacent.
Well, yeah,
it's good. Yeah.
Well,
I know what you mean, though.
Well, yeah. Okay, because maybe
you just can't be like, oh, this is just gonna be whatever. Like, you still need to feel that, like, I need to, like, that hunger, that fire. Yeah. That's what.
No, that's exactly the best way to explain it. Because I forgot what I was going with it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. No, but being complacent. Yeah,
you said, or else you'll get lazy
and unproductive. So to the point that you were just making right now, that's why it came into my mind just now, because I'm like, when I start to feel like I am comfortable or like I know it all, anymore, because I feel like I've accomplished what I needed to accomplish, versus always having that feeling of being not complacent. It makes me want to drive more, go after the next challenge, or continue to grow.
Continue to work.
To work. And that's the same whether it's in my personal life or my relationship with God. Like, I want to make sure that I'm continuously going after his word. I'm continuously seeking for him. And the only way I could ever gotten to this point was by allowing myself to let go and surrender to him, and let go of all the things that I thought that I had control over, but I really never had control over, and things that
allowing yourself to be uncomfortable in those times,
and allowing and really feel like with my relationship with God, when I'm not staying complacent and staying steadfast in where I feel that I am, and just keep chasing after him, keep wanting him more. And the hunger after his word, feeding my soul, feeding my mind with his word and what he wants us to really understand in this world that we live in, because we don't live for ourselves,
right?
You know what I'm saying? We're not living, it may seem that way, but we're not.
Yeah.
So I just feel like that's the only way that I can continue, and that's the only way that I can not control, but
kind of surrender
control. Surrender that
in a way that's
in a healthy way, in a godly way. That control that I used to want before.
Well, that kind of is control. Now that you're saying, like, that kind of is control, because you have control whether or not you allow God to move in it. You have control whether or not to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but that's a healthy, that's a godly control. That's what I said, godly control, healthy control. I mean, I'm pretty sure, I'm not even sure if those are the right phrases that I should
that's
be using. But no.
We know what you mean, I think.
You have to have some kind of self-control in order to be able to accomplish, whether you are a Christian or not. You have to have some kind of self-control to stop you from doing things that are impulsive and that are reactive. And reactive. So I'm talking about the unhealthy control, where at some point
it's like
obsessive, like it consumes you. And that's the control that I had to pray over myself for years, because it's not like if something happens out of control, I instantly cry. It's me trying and not being able to get that control back. That's when I get to the point of frustration and feeling anxiety. But now I just realize, you know what, God, I tried and I tried again, and I'm still not getting it. So now it's in your hands. You tell me what you want done or what I need to do. Or maybe I just need to sit still for a second, so that way you can show me a different way that I'm not seeing, because I'm being so impulsive and reactive right now because I'm upset.
Yeah. And if I'm being very honest and transparent, although I've come a long way with control, that's still something that I still have to pray for. That's still something that I still struggle with. And to your point, when you were saying about like complacency or kind of just staying, you know what I mean, not really chasing growth, but in my relationship with God, like the last maybe not last month, but a few months ago or whatever, I was at a place where I was like, okay, I'm comfortable. Like, this is good. Like, I got to hold on this. Like, this is okay, God, you told me here. And then I think that I kind of just got into the motions of like, okay, this is just rather than being at his feet, like the way I was when I was crying every day, being at his feet in the same way that it was a shift, because it was a different season, which obviously you have to adjust the way that you handle the relationship. But I think that I was handling it in a way where I was just kind of like, okay, well, I'm more comfortable here, so I must not need to, not that I didn't need God, but I must not need to be here all the time. You know what I'm saying? So I've gotten back to that, which is difficult to do with all the things that we have to do.
Well, no, yeah.
But it's something that I'm working on, because it is a priority in my life. But it's difficult to switch seasons and not, which I think he understands. I think he knows that. That's why there is a transitional period, kind of. It's transitioning into how to handle your relationship with God in a new season where everything feels different. So obviously it's not going to feel the same. Right. You might not have as many encounters. You might not you might not need to cry your heart out all the time. You might not need, you know what I mean? So it changes the dynamic of but it shouldn't change the dynamic of the relationship. It changes like what you're saying and stuff. You know what I'm trying to say? It just changes your language. And I know you were talking about when you went to therapy before. When I went to therapy, because I had to go to therapy when I first started therapy, I think I still wasn't like chasing after God like that. I was just kind of like, oh my gosh, this is overwhelming. But he kind of how you were saying you needed to find a healthy way. My therapist was telling me that as well, but I think that I was just kind of like, I mean, but I've been able to handle it, so why can't I handle it now? Why, like, I just need to get whatever pushed me over the edge, I need to get that off so that I can continue doing the way that I was doing. Right. And he was just kind of like, no, just because that is the one thing that tipped you over, it was a buildup. It wasn't just, you know, that one thing. And I think it's great that we figured out that us having control. We were never supposed to have control. That's why it feels so overwhelming.
Right.
Because that's usually when I feel very overwhelmed and like, oh my gosh, I just don't, is when I feel like, if I feel like I'm losing control of something, that meant that I, at some way, felt like I was controlling something.
Yeah. You know, I think the one thing that people don't realize that we all struggle with a little bit is, yeah, God, you know, take this over, but you know, when we get to this part, I'm gonna jump in and help you out because
for real, it'd be like God,
I don't think you get the way that I wanted to.
The way I wanted to. It'd be like, this is how it be. It'd be like, okay, God, you said you was gonna do this. All right, great. I trust you. But can we make sure that you know, when we get there, can we do it like this? Because I think that would be great. I think that would be real. You know what? I need it to happen. And he's like, you have no clue what,
you know what I'm saying, or like
you don't even have the credentials to even try to tell me how to do this for you. Like
credentials,
like,
you hear that?
God,
the credentials.
Like, God, I know you told me I was gonna have this house and everything, but like, can it just be like, can I have it like next year?
See, you saying credentials, I'm thinking it's above our pay grade.
It's above me. It's
above me to even try to ask.
But I mean, you can add, but like to even try to really, like, it's kind of like it would be nice if if that's how you feel, you need to be like, oh, it would be nice for this to happen, but God, if it doesn't, your will be done. That's like, okay, if you feel like you just need to say it to God, say it, but still know it's his will over yours, period.
Absolutely. But there have been times I'm like, you know what, if it's not your will, then I completely understand. Be like, but
but God, I pray that it is.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, God, I really need to win this lottery. But if it's not your will, at least let me hit 2 numbers and I can get like my money back.
No, wait. Because I feel like I've literally done that before. I'd be like, look, okay, I know. I mean, I think I was like, I know, like you said, I'm gonna be X, Y, and Z. Like, so maybe if I could win the lottery. And I know right now I'm not the best with my finance. Like, I'm not like a finance guru, but you can teach me after.
You know,
like,
or hire somebody to do it me after.
I was like, God, like, I promise you, that's always what it'd be. I promise you that after you X, Y, and Z, then you could teach me, and I'll get. And
see, no, for me it'd be like, God, I promise if you give me X, Y, and Z, then whatever you ABC,
I'll do it however
you know, like that's it. I just need this 1, 2, 3,
and it's still it's still trying to have control, and it's like the one thing you can't have control of is God. So I don't even know why we be trying, like, for real.
It's like you have to. Literally what I was just saying, when you say, here, God, I give it to you, I surrender it to you, you have to do it. Like, there is no but, you know what I'm saying? There is no, you know, like, let me just do this really quick and then I'll ask him to jump in at this point. Like,
and no. I think also, or not I think, but surrendering control doesn't mean do nothing. There was this thing that Kerry Washington said in an interview once, and she was saying when she prays for when she prays for a role or she prays for something, right? She releases it to God, but she said, she gave an analogy that, say you're waiting for a specific bus, right? And the bus goes by, you can ask like, okay, is this my bus? Pray for it to be your bus. And then when the bus comes, you need to run to try to catch that bus. If you don't catch it, it wasn't your bus. But you can't, the bus be going by and you just like, all right, well, you know what I mean? You can't just watch it. You still do have to try. You relinquishing control, but you still do have to put in some kind of effort.
I think we should
into it.
Episode on that because it just all kinds of stuff just popped into my head because we as Christians, and not all of us, but a lot of us will sit here and be like, God, I need this.
God, when are you gonna
remember Tuesday I was like, God, I need.
Then they'd be like, maybe he didn't hear. Let me pray hard. Let me keep praying.
You know what I'm saying?
And he's like, okay, I could do that for you. Take the okay. So God, I want to be a baker, but you don't know how to cook, right? You don't know how to cook. God, give me please bless me with a bakery. He'd be like, okay,
here.
And then you like this.
So God, you weren't gonna give me a baker too? Like that's not what you asked for.
You said you wanted to be you wanted to get a bakery. You're not taking no classes. You're not learning how to cook. You're not doing none of the things.
That is okay.
That's all part
struggle.
That's what faith without works is dead means. Because you can have all the faith in the world for something to have, but you're not doing anything.
But that's what a lot of Christians,
be
especially the ones that have like half foot in, half foot out. It's like, I want this, and then when it doesn't happen, and you're blaming God for this or blaming God for that, that's a whole nother thing. But no, because you said that, it just immediately popped in my head. Like, we cannot be those Christians that say, God, I need, and then just sit, and wait and think that we don't have any, work that we need to put in to. It's just not as simple as saying, hey, God, give me this. Hey, God, give me that. And then just sit there and just wait for it to be done. And meanwhile, you're living your life however you want to live your life because you're just expecting him to give you something that you didn't even work for.
But even if you are living your life for God and you're asking him for something, there is a preparation period. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people are praying for God to, for them to be married or for them, you know what I'm saying? But they're not doing the steps to make sure that they're a good husband. They're you know what I'm saying? They have the things to be a good husband or a good wife. I want a
husband or I want a wife, but you're fornicating every
every
other day.
God, I want my husband to be rich, but you don't know nothing about finances. You don't know none of this. I want my husband, or my wife to be X, Y, and Z. Are you that? I want them to be so caring and loving and affectionate. I want them to be so attentive. Are you attentive? Are you affectionate? Are you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, yes, you can pray for these things and yes, he will bring them to you, but are you ready for, because if he brings you something that you have not prepared and you're not ready for it, you are going to mess it up.
You're going to lose it.
You're going to mess it up.
And it's not because, oh, God, you gave it to me, but then you took it back. No, you weren't. You didn't prepare. Not even you weren't ready. You didn't prepare for the blessing that he was giving you.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times a lot of people try to control that because they'll ask God for something and they don't want to do the steps to prepare. Say he said yes, you can have, but they still don't want to do the steps to prepare for it. So they go by other means to try to figure out, okay, if he said I can have it, but it's not just coming to me, so maybe I need to go do this thing over here that's not of God, but he said I can, he gave me the green light to have this thing. So like, that means I need to figure out how to get it. It's not, I need to figure out how to get it. It's make sure that you're prepared for it when it comes to you. It's not, oh my gosh, I need to, okay, maybe it'll work this way. Okay, maybe it'll happen this way. Maybe it'll happen. It's not for you to play trivia or the guessing game of how it's going to happen. It's, okay, God, show me how I need to prepare for this thing. When this thing happens, am I going to be ready for it? Mentally, spiritually, emotionally, financially, you know what I mean? Like, can I handle the blessing that I'm asking for? Like, I know people pray for children all the time, but if say you have all this childhood trauma and all of these things, and I'm not saying don't pray, you don't want a kid, but if you have all this trauma and maybe you're reactive, or maybe you don't have a hold on your anger, or maybe all of these things, you can still be blessed with a child, but work on that you know what I'm saying? Put yourself in a position to handle that blessing in the best way. Handle it like a blessing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because then that blessing will be a curse to you if you're not prepared for it. Like, you've heard of people who won the lottery and then they've ruined their lives because they weren't prepared for that win, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Like on Friday.
Oh, yeah.
When they won the lottery and then...
Oh, you mean lottery ticket?
No, Friday. Remember, because they moved up to Rancho Cucamonga.
Oh,
and
next
then
Friday.
He had to bring it. Ice Cube's dad had to bring him to live up there, with him to get him out of the hood, and then they ended up losing the house anyways because they spent all the money on just not good stuff.
You praying to be rich? Start taking some finance classes to get your financial literacy together, because. I've learned, like, okay, I was praying for things, and then and God was like, yeah, okay, I'll give that to you. And I was sitting there like,
just waiting.
First of all, I was thinking like, okay, you say you'll give it to me, so like next month, right? So then I was stressing that, oh my gosh, like, God, when?
And you'd be like,
when?
God,
Hello?
you said
you're going to give it to me.
Yeah, asking you shall receive, but I'm asking.
You're like, I didn't say when, I didn't tell you when, I just said that I was going to give it to you. And you're not doing nothing to speed nothing up. You're just sitting there. I literally was like, okay, God, so like this going to happen. So that means I need to make it happen like now. Like now I can make it happen, and I got your blessing behind it, so it's gonna happen right now when I want it to happen.
Right.
And he was like, no. And because of that, things went left to the point where it's like, okay, God, I literally tried everything that I can do in my own power, so now I have to, you know,
release
it to you. I have to release it to you again. And this is after I've already, rededicated my life to God. This is part of the journey, you know what I mean? So don't think that this is like, oh, we give our lives to God and we don't have that struggle. We still do.
No, like it's a constant battle. With anything when it comes to Christ, it's not a matter of praying for it once and then just being like, okay, God's gonna give it to me. You have to keep praying, and even once you have the things that you ask for, you keep praying, you
praying over it,
praying over your family. Like, God bless you with a kid, pray over your child every day. You know what I'm saying? God bless you with someone a partner, pray over your partner, pray over yourself.
And especially because one, the thing when you're praying for something or you're waiting for a promise or something, the enemy is going to attack that very thing. He's going to attack your faith about whatever it is.
And just because your faith is steadfast where you want it to be doesn't mean that the enemy won't try to use things around you to challenge you.
All he needs is a little.
It's just an inch.
He just needs a little bit,
a little room to squeeze himself right on in.
Then you'll be looking
a little
like,
doubt.
God, how did I get here? Now I'm doubting everything. Oh, because remember, it could be the smallest thing of doubt. Like maybe somebody said to you, no, I got you on that, and you like, yeah, okay. In your mind, you're like, no, you don't. That little seed of doubt, you know what I'm saying? I'm not talking about, discernment and like the Holy Spirit telling you like they don't got you. I mean, like in your mind, you're just, you know what I'm trying to say? Like questioning unnecessary things. Those are seeds of doubt that eventually are going to attack your faith, because that's the goal of the enemy. He wants your faith. He wants your faith, not necessarily faith in these little things. He wants your faith in God. He's going to attack your faith in God. If he can make you question the words of God, if he can make you question the blessings of God, he can eventually make you question, okay, well, I'm questioning the word of God. I'm questioning what God said. Did God say this? Okay, well, does God speak to me? Okay, well, does God speak to me? Does God speak? Is God, you know what I'm saying? Like it's literally like he'll take it as slow as he need to, but he's trying to get you to question your faith in God, period.
Right.
And I know we're talking about control, but it's when you surrender that control, you're not so fixated on the how, the when, all of those things. Because when you're fixated on the how and the when, it leaves room for doubt to creep in. It leaves room for unbelief to creep in. It leaves room for all these things that eventually will attack your faith. So it's just a matter of recognizing who's in control. Really, yeah. Is there anything that you feel like, well, I think you shared in your testimony, you felt like you were in control, but is there any way now, since rededicating your life and everything, is there anything that happened where you were just kind of like, I wish I could control this, but I have to give it to you?
Yeah, I mean, right now in my life, probably just like finances.
Okay.
And not because it's not there, just because I want more, want more for my life, more for my family. So that's a constant. Every single day I gotta be like, I know, God, you have everything in control. I am where I am because this is where you place me. So there's no doubt or question in that. But our flesh speaks to us sometimes. So when that feeling comes in, I just go back again in prayer and just be like, I am where I am because of you. This is where you want me to be. I trust you. I know you're guiding me in my family. But there is a seed of doubt in there. I need you to take it away.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've even had to be praying recent, like it's in my prayer every time, because not necessarily I'm doubting anything specific, but I recognize that there's an attack against my prayer, like my prayer life. There's an attack against those things. And in there being an attack in those things, it's making it harder for me to feed my spirit, which makes it harder for me to like get rid of those things. So I've just had to be praying like, God, increase my faith and help my unbelief, so that when I am, as if I can pray for 15 minutes or whatever, if I can't pray for an hour, that 15 minutes while I'm praying, Lord, increase my faith and help my unbelief, it's going to be a faith-filled prayer, which is how we're supposed to be, in spirit when we're praying. But that's hard to do if your faith is being targeted. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So I think how you were saying, like, you had to give it to him. I don't think there's anything wrong with releasing control to him, but still wanting more. And maybe when you recognize that that's happening, maybe those are times to continue to go to God. Maybe he's allowing you to continue to feel that way, or continue to want more, or he might not take that feeling away immediately, because maybe he wants you to keep coming to him and praying about removing it. Maybe, you know what I mean? Maybe he's trying to use that thing to call you closer to him or something. You never know.
Yeah, no, I think that was well said. Just he never wants us to stop coming to him. So I think if there's anything that anyone can take away from this message that we gave today, would be to always seek God. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's Matthew 6:22 or 23.
Something like that.
I'll recheck that for reference. But no, but it is to seek the kingdom. So
seek ye first the kingdom of God, and everything will be
so
unto you. Yeah.
That's really all he's asking us to do. You want to do something, go to God first.
Yeah.
Like, I know some people, like, example as like a parent and a child relationship, or even an adult child to a parent relationship. It's like, you don't really need to ask for permission, but at least like let me know what's going on.
You said an adult child, yeah.
Adult child relationship, yeah. Let me know what's like going on in your mind and stuff like that, And with God, again, it's like, before you do something, ask him to, or ask even a friend to pray with you, or lay your hands on, or your partner, if it's something that you are going into as a union, to see if that's where if your heart's in the right place, and if that's where God wants you.
Yeah, he'll let you know, like,
because he'll let you know instantly. And honestly, like, the thing that we all like to ignore is that everyone has that when it's of God. And it's of God, it's very clear. But the minute you start feeling like something's off, don't keep going.
We like to ignore
it. You know what I'm saying? Don't keep going. Pray.
Yeah, and also, how you said, you'll know it's of God. There's times where you can go into something, and it's not like you might not feel either way. You might be like, God, I genuinely don't know. Like, I genuinely don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't necessarily feel like it's bad, but I don't necessarily feel your yes. So continue to pray. Don't just, okay, God, you didn't tell me anything, so like
pray
I'm
harder.
gonna assume. Keep praying,
Pray harder,
keep seeking, take every aspect. Maybe it's a new job, maybe you're moving to a new city. Okay, God, I'm thinking of buying this ticket. And make sure when you're doing these things, like, God, if I'm not supposed to be here, do not let me get on this plane. If you know what I'm saying, just to make sure that you're not putting, because sometimes if you have your mind made up, God could have told you, but you didn't hear the answer. Yeah, you didn't hear the answer because it wasn't what you wanted to hear. And that, let me tell you,
no, I just
seriously,
I just say pray, keep praying, and sometimes pray harder.
Yeah,
pray harder, stay steadfast in your prayer. Don't allow outside distractions to move you in a way if you're not ready to be, if God's not ready for you to move. So like we said, when he wants to give you something, or when he shows you a blessing that's about to happen in your life, like, it's very clear. So if it's not clear, then it's not time to move yet.
And a thing that has helped me, which I heard, was that if God wants you to do something quickly, he'll kind of nudge and push. The enemy will pressure you. The enemy will make you feel rushed. God's not going to rush you. He's not in a rush. It's not like, oh my gosh, if I don't accept this right now, it's gone. That's not God. If that helps somebody with their discernment and decision making, maybe, you know what I'm saying? Maybe that would help. And also, how you were saying, seek God first. As far as control, the word says, as your favorite scripture says, for I know the plans that I have for you. That means, let me do these plans, let me write your story. But also the word says, he clothes the lilies of the fields, which is, if he has that much care for the lilies, for the birds don't sit here like, oh my gosh, where is my next meal going to come from? They know they're going to eat something, you know what I mean? Because he's going to provide it.
Exactly.
And they're not fighting for that control over it. And I know it's a scary notion to release control. Trust me, I understand it's a scary notion, but when you do it, it's very freeing. And when you continue to do it and make it your lifestyle to continually relinquish and surrender to God, this scary notion becomes things being in your control. Because you have to think, as an imperfect being, an imperfect human who could be swayed here or there by emotions, all these things, do you really want to have that much control? Rather than a perfect God who sees all, who knows what's coming, knows how it's coming, knows how to, you know what I mean, give you your way out. I would much rather he be in control than me, who I don't know all, I can't see all. I just, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
It becomes scary to feel like, oh my gosh, this is on me.
Right.
Rather than like, this isn't necessarily on me. It's on God, and God's not going to fail.
Right.
So.
No, absolutely. Yeah. So are there any like takeaways? I know I mentioned a couple of them, like, that you think that I haven't said yet, or maybe you've said, that you want to make sure everyone goes away with this on episode of Control?
I think you covered it. Just maybe a takeaway is that relinquishing control is a process. We're not meant to have control of certain things. Yes, we have power of the tongue. Yes, we do have promises and authority in God, but that doesn't mean we're supposed to manipulate things. We're not supposed to manifest things through our own power to control them. We're not supposed to do all these other things, witchcraft, whatever, to control circumstances. That's not what we're meant to do. We're meant to use our authority and the power of our tongue and things like that to come in agreement with God and do those things.
Yeah.
So that's where control. So I just wanted to say that, but also control the process. So if you're right now trying to I'm trying to give it to God, I'm trying to give it to him, right? But you're struggling in doing so, keep pushing. I promise you, you will get it.
Yeah.
Keep pushing, keep trying. And if you're saying I'm giving it to God, but you're finding it hard, tell him. Tell him that. I've had to be like, God, I'm releasing this thing to you that I really want, right? It could be the thing that you want more than anything in this world or whatever. I'm releasing this thing to you. Or I'm saying that I'm releasing it to you, but something in me is not releasing it. But you know what I mean? You're going through the motions of trying to release it. Let him know. He just wants to hear it. God, I'm struggling. God, I'm having a hard time giving this to you. God, every time I release it to you, I pick it right back up because I feel like I need to have control. God, I'm afraid of not having control. God, there is fear where there's not control. Talk to him. Right? Like just
honestly, yeah. And I pray that anyone who is struggling with anything in their lives that they want to let go, surrender to God, that God opens your heart, opens your mind in order to in order to allow you to practice your free will, to just speak to him like you were speaking to a close friend or a family member, someone that you can confide in. I pray that he just opens your heart to allow you to do that with him, so that way you can build that relationship if you don't have that relationship with him already, or even if you have that relationship but it's not the greatest and it's basically on contract when you feel like you need God, then I pray that I pray that you open your heart to allow him to just come to him at all times, not just when you feel like you need him, but when you feel like you don't need him and you just, need someone to talk to him, because
even if you don't feel like you need, just talk in general.
Yeah. Exactly.
Talk to him when you're happy, when you're sad,
anyone who is struggling, who is, living day by day because they have something that they cannot release to him, let go to him, surrender to him. I pray that this week that you find it in your heart, that God shows you a way to surrender your thoughts and feelings and things that you can't control to him, because he's really there and with open arms waiting for you to surrender all those things to him.
Yeah.
All right. So honestly, this was so crazy because I was really about to start praying over everybody today.
I was about to too, and I was like, okay.
I felt it go in there, and maybe it's in some of these episodes we might have to.
And it's funny
the
when
Spirit might just come to us and be like, look, just start praying for people, because I really felt like that. I'm like, you know what? That's why I was going.
When you started saying like I pray, I was like, okay, God, if she go in, I was like, I'm gonna hop in right after. I was like, I'm gonna hop in after.
No, I felt it. No, I truly felt it, and
maybe if you guys want us to pray, let us know.
We truly mean not just me, because Marissa and I have been friends for such a long time. Like, I feel like I know her well enough to say from the both of us, like, we truly mean the things that we say. And the reason why we are here is because God led us to be here, and we wouldn't be here if we weren't ready to be here. We wouldn't be here if we were, if our heart wasn't here, if our heart wasn't aligned with where God wants us to be. And, I'm just so happy that I have someone who not only I can confide in, but also share and, minister to me when I feel like I can't minister to myself, or listen to another minister, someone who gets me, relates to me, but also, holds me accountable.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So we hope you guys really enjoyed this episode, and we hope that something that we said helped you, whether it was the end, the beginning, I don't know.
And we'll see you in the next episode where we talk about being mad at God, which I think aligns with us having control, because we say a lot of things.
Yeah.
When we can't control something, or when we're in fear.
And I know I've been, look, we'll talk about that.
Okay, so now, the last couple episodes will all tie in together: fear, obedience, control, with this next episode about being mad at God.
Yeah.
So I hope you guys tune in to the next episode, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Putting in work, I'm putting in work. I answer the call. They ask why I do it. Well, why do I do it? It really ain't hard.